Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Hangar Bar. Super excited to have you with us. We are still in the midst of our break. This is going to be the last episode that we release for 2024. And next week, we'll jump into 2025 with hopefully our We Were in Disney for Christmas episode. So that's coming up very soon. That'll be the only new that we release between when we started the break and when we come back in February. We have some exciting things planned for early in the season as well. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be exciting. But for today's, I decided to do a full on throwback. We are going back and to our very first episode that we ever released, which was just us reminiscing about our Disney World trip that we had taken in 2019. And it's a fun listen. It's a little, you can tell we were brand new at this podcasting thing. It was a rough audio because we were just using a little puck in the middle of a table in our echoey kitchen, but it was still just a ton of fun to listen to and a ton of fun to record and got us kicked off on the right foot. It is still one of our most listened to episodes ever. So sit back, enjoy, and reminisce with us about our 2019 Disney trip. Welcome to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
I'm Candice.
I'm Lariah.
And I'm Lacey. Grab a drink and come hang with us at the Hangar Bar.
Hey, welcome back to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. This is actually episode 1. If you listen to our first one, we're calling that one episode 0, where you just get to learn a little bit about us and why we're hanging out at the Hangar Bar. So go back and listen to that one if you haven't yet. Today, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the first trip that we all took to Disney together. We actually made the decision to drive all the way down to Orlando, and it was filled with adventure and laughs and lots of different things. So we're just going to start by asking the group a quick question. What was your favorite part of driving to Disney World?
I know for myself, first of all, our trip to getting coffee right as we're exiting Lincoln is my favorite part of any vacation. And honestly, I loved when we would just be in the car and had nothing else to do except to entertain each other with Disney questions. What's your favorite ride? What's your favorite food? I'll never get tired of that because my answers always change and everyone else's does, because how can you just pick one? So I just thought that was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I loved the little moments of Disney trivia. It was, a 24-hour drive? Something like that, right, 21, 24, somewhere in there. And the fact that we're friends, so we all get along. It wasn't like we were ready to throttle one another at any point during the trip. So just some of the random breaks of silence of that Disney trivia where we hear Lacey or Lariah from the back seat holler out, well, what do you guys think about this? And then that would go on for an hour. We just talk about that for an hour. And if you think about it, that's really one of the reasons why we decided to start this podcast, just because that was so much fun. So yeah, that's awesome. I think for me, one of my favorite parts of the drive down there was how hard we laughed when we saw the first person who had a scooter tied behind their van. We'd been making jokes about scooter people at Disney World. If you have to ride a scooter at Disney World, nothing against that at all. But if you've ever been to Disney World, you know that there's a certain subset of people that ride scooters that take up the entire 15-foot wide walkways and will just run into you. They will run over you. And so we had joked about that the entire way down there. And then we saw like somebody with Florida license plates with a scooter on a tray behind their minivan. And we just busted out laughing for probably 15 minutes on the drive down there. That is probably my favorite memory from the drive down.
One of my favorite memories, and there are a lot of them, both of which have already been mentioned, but when we travel together, we always seem to find what we dub as the center of the universe. And we seem to always take a picture of that person. It's usually never of their face. It's usually the back of their head or the back of themselves. And it's just a fun little tradition that's just, it's a good time. And it's not meant to be harmful. It's just, you can tell those people who think they're the center of the universe. and they deserve to be immortalized on digital film.
And in videos.
And in videos, yes. Forgot about that. Thank you.
Lariah, what about you? What was your favorite part of the trip down there?
I think when we got to meet Bigfoot, definitely. We were going through Tennessee and we saw a Bigfoot jazz festival. Didn't get to stay for that, but wish we would have.
Shoot.
But, you know, Scott and Candice were like, oh my gosh, there's a Bigfoot gas station. So we drove straight to that gas station to use the restrooms. And they had like a, 10-foot tall Bigfoot?
Did anybody get their picture taken with that Bigfoot, or did we decide that wasn't worth it?
No, I was too nervous.
Afraid it was going to come to life
Yes.
and want to come to Disney with us?
Well, that would have been fun.
There wasn't room in the car.
We needed to take him back to Expedition Everest.
Yes.
To visit his cousin.
Yeah.
The
Disco Yeti.
Not the same.
No, sorry. I'm so sorry. They're not the same.
Distant relatives. That's right.
Yeah.
And then the other memory, we mentioned it right before we started recording, but we checked into a hotel. We won't mention the name brand of the hotel, but we were just sitting there. We had ordered Chipotle for dinner, right? And we're sitting there in the hotel room after 8 or 9 hours of driving for the day, just relaxing. And all of a sudden, Candice notices an ant on the nightstand. And then I notice a trail of ants up the wall. And we just looked around, and that room had ants everywhere. That was in Tennessee too, wasn't it?
Mhm.
We
Yes.
stopped in Tennessee. That will be something that will haunt me forever. We fortunately did not have to stay in that room. We were contemplating just wasting the money and going to a different hotel, but they got us into a different room that fortunately the only ants we found in there were the ones that had crawled on us, and then we got those taken care of. But does anybody else have a not so great memory of the drive down?
That would be my big one, and that's
Yeah.
going to stick with me for a long time because I hate ants. I hate them.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the worst thing we encountered on the way down. Like, luckily, we didn't have to experience anything else
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Yeah, and the other really good thing I liked about the trip down is Candice, we had planned, 2 9-hour days and then like a 5-hour day to get to Disney. Candice made the executive decision, 2 or 3 weeks before we left, that we don't want to be staying at the Georgia-Florida line with 4 or 5 hours to go. Let's just go ahead and get longer each day and make it into Orlando. I think that was a fantastic choice.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get a Disney room that first night, but it put us into Disney with an entire day, which gave us an extra breakfast reservation that we wouldn't have gotten. It got us, that was our Ohana breakfast, right?
No, that
No.
was Kona Cafe.
Kona Cafe, that's right. Same hotel, different restaurant. See, this is why Candice is the map.
Mm-hmm.
They can't see you spreading your arms, but she just did a ta-da.
You could just put in a ta-da and call it good.
So, thinking about when we got to Disney, what was your favorite day one experience?
I will say waking up in Orlando, being minutes away from Disney World, was the best feeling ever. So I applaud you, Candice,
Mm-hmm.
for your amazing travel agent skill. That was incredible. And driving under the tunnel or the archway, that's the best. Once you pass through that, you just smile and you know that you just feel like a 4-year-old kid again. You're just like, all right, here we go.
Well, and for people that haven't been to Disney World, the gateway or the archway that she's talking about, that doesn't really lead you anywhere. I mean, it leads you onto the road systems of the Walt Disney World property, but it's not like you drive through this gateway and the Magic Kingdom's on your right, the Epcot's straight ahead, Animal Kingdom's over there. No. I mean, you don't see anything that looks Disney other than this archway. And so you drive, and you see the traffic signs that change color to Disney colors, and you eventually find your way to where you need to be. But I agree. It's just you drive through there and it's like, okay, I'm in the magic now. Vacation can start.
Yeah, so one of the things also we did on our first day, besides, just waking up, getting to drive straight to Disney to, eat breakfast, we got to resort hop, which is something I never thought about before. And for me personally, this was my first time. And I'm so grateful I got to go with these guys. But they have all been before. I hadn't. So it was a brand new experience for me. But yeah, the resort hopping was something so cool. I loved it. And I think it should be a part of all of our future trips together, because it was just so much fun. And that was definitely one of my favorite parts of the whole trip.
Yeah, Candice and I actually, what was that, 2 or 3 trips ago, we kind of figured out that resort hopping was a good way to sort of break up your vacation too. So we did it on day 1, but didn't we also have a day in the middle where we didn't have anything planned?
Mm-hmm.
So we did a little bit more then, but that is a life hack, a Disney life hack. If you're going to be there for a week, don't get park tickets for every day. Take the monorail loop and go to all the monorail hotels and just look at them. That is some of my favorite memories of any of our Disney trips, is just getting to explore parts of Disney that people that are so focused on rides just miss out on.
And I think another part that a lot of people don't think about is you go to Disney World on vacation. Vacations are supposed to be somewhat relaxing, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that most people do not relax on a Disney vacation. And I think that's an element that is sorely lacking from a lot of people's experience, because there are a lot of activities to do that aren't in the parks, and we're going to talk about some of those a little later in this episode. But I think it's very important to kind of don't plan your trip based on what's right for other people. Plan it what's right for you.
Such great advice.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. The days we spent out of the parks versus the days we spent at the parks.
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay. I loved them equally, because Disney World is not about the parks, like Candice said. And like she said, do Disney how you want to do it. There's no wrong way. You can have a relaxing vacation. And I feel like we did a lot, but there were also some good relaxing days mixed in.
Mm-hmm.
So
we may judge you for your right way, but there really is no wrong way.
But if that's right for you, that's right for you.
Okay, so what else about that trip? We talked about the trip down there. What's your favorite memory of the entire trip?
After hours in Magic Kingdom.
Talk more about that.
So, the year that we went, the Disney World actually started doing what they called after hours events in some of the different parks. And I think it was Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom. And they would plan these hard ticketed events. And when I say hard ticketed, I mean that you have to buy separate admission to get into these events. But you go into the parks as early as 7?
4.
Okay, thank you.
It's 7 now. That's a recent change to their, like the Halloween party and the Christmas party. They've changed them to 7, but it used to be 4.
Okay. So you could get in as early as 4 o'clock in the evening and then stay there until the end of the event with your extra hard ticket. And
that's what she said.
And our event happened to end at midnight. So we got to be in Magic Kingdom for pretty much an entire park day, if you think about it, because it was 8 hours. And we did go over there at 4. Granted, we had to be amongst the regular people. I'm digging myself a hole here, and it sounds terrible, but okay, so the regular park visitors, the people that had paid for that day's admission without admission into the after hours events, they were around until after fireworks, which was 9:30
ish. Yeah.
And then from the point where they were asked to leave the park, we had the whole thing pretty much to ourselves. And there was not just our group, but there were times where we were walking through different areas of Magic Kingdom, and we were the only people in those areas. But they also offered free snacks. There was popcorn, there was frozen treats, there was soda. I think Casey's Corner was open.
Yes.
And that wasn't free, but it was amazing. It was probably one of my favorite experiences ever in all the times that I've been going to Disney World.
And one of our future planned podcasts is all about Dream Vacation. So don't be surprised if you don't hear about these after hours events again. But yeah, to your point, Candice, I loved, like when we went back by Gaston's Tavern. We were back there and we went back to use the bathroom. There was nobody back there. And we stood there for 10 or 15 minutes and nobody walked by. Because there's not really any rides back there. So one of the benefits to the after hours too, we kind of laughed and felt really high and mighty because we walked over to Peter Pan, which Peter Pan's ride normally has a 60 to 75 minute wait. At 9:30 when it shut off to regular park guests, we walked over there, flashed our little band, we walked straight onto Peter Pan's flight, and right after us there was somebody who came in, didn't have the armband. They're like, nah, you got to get out of the park. So those are the kinds of things, like so many people use that hard ticketed event to go on as many rides as they can get on, just ride to ride to ride to ride, because there is no wait. You could go on Splash Mountain time after time after time if that's what you wanted to do, and just absolutely love that. But my favorite part was just how quiet it was. Like out front by Main Street USA when we were leaving, nobody there. And there were probably I don't want to guess it, 4,000 or 5,000 people had tickets to this event.
Maybe, yeah.
So, you think about how big Disney is, not that many people in that amount of space, and even if we were all leaving at the same time, Main Street USA felt empty. Mm-hmm. You could take pictures of the castle with nobody in them. Our cover art for our podcast was based on a picture that we took that night. There was nobody in the background. It was phenomenal.
And one of my favorite things about that night, in addition to what I've already mentioned, is that you'd walk through these areas where nobody else was, and they still had the ambient music going. So it was like you were honestly in a story or in just your own little, fantasy land, for lack of a better term. And this awesome music was going, and you could actually hear it and enjoy it and just kind of immerse yourself in being in the Magic Kingdom when it was dark. It was amazing. I love it.
Favorite memories?
I know for me, I have dreamed of seeing those fireworks since I was little. Mm-hmm. So that they did not disappoint. I think I told everybody I just can't wait to see the fireworks, and I was in awe, incredible.
Which was your favorite fireworks show, Lariah?
I just Happily Ever After. Okay. I think all of them were phenomenal.
Yeah, because you saw Happily Ever After twice, right? On our Magic Kingdom day and our After Hours event day. And then we can talk a little bit more about how we saw the Epcot fireworks, because that was pretty cool too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get to that when we talk about favorite restaurants and that kind of thing, probably. Spoiler alert. So Lacey, how about you? Favorite memory of the trip?
Well, I don't know. I have a lot, but it was a great trip. But honestly, this was the first time I have ever tried Joffrey's coffee. Mm. Oh, and it has changed my life. I order, my bank account is very upset with me because of that. I buy Joffrey's online now all the time. But yeah, just going to Joffrey's. I loved the day we went to Hollywood Studios, found Joffrey's. Thank you to Scott, who would ask every single cast member anything we ever needed. Scott will not hesitate to ask. We found a Joffrey's after writing Tower of Terror. Mm-hmm. And Lariah and Scott got a huge, perfect pink sprinkled donut. So huge. We will post a picture of it. It was humongous. I got my vanilla soy latte iced. I was in heaven. Joffrey's, man. I will just talk about it all this time.
Joffrey's is your ride and die?
Yeah.
And yes, it's better than Starbucks.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, I'm not knocking it. There's Starbucks in every single park,
Right.
and if you need a coffee fix, that's a good choice. But take the time, trust us, and try the Joffrey's because, yeah, it hits differently.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of the donut that Lariah and I shared, which I swear is as big as a person's head, it was huge. So yeah, check out our Instagram that we're going to have, and you'll be able to see a picture of the donut that we're talking about in this episode. But let's go further with the food, just in memories of our trip. What was your favorite bite?
That is so hard.
That's what she said.
Oh my God.
I'll go back on my notes.
Nerd.
Okay,
And
I
said that
will.
with love.
I will start. Like when I say favorite bite on that trip, it was the Subway and no.
Okay, so I'm vegan. I'm the only vegan in this group, and everyone had to suffer because one of the only places that I know of, fast food places that we could stop at, was Subway. We have all had enough Subway to last us the rest of our lives. So that's the inside joke there. Sorry, guys.
No, but seriously, my favorite bite when I asked that question, something popped into my mind, and it was at we know it as Stan and Helen's. What's the actual name of it?
La Hacienda de San Angel.
That's right. It's so I know it as Stan and Helen's because I can't pronounce all of that. But there was a cheese fondue served with tortillas, like soft tortillas, that was just out of this world, like phenomenal.
Officially, it's called queso fundido.
Thank you, Map.
You're welcome.
So yeah, that was my favorite bite of this entire trip. I don't think I would say that was my favorite bite in all of Disney, in all of my trips, but on this trip, that was my favorite bite.
That is such a tough question because we ate so much good food this time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I have mine. So we had gone to 50's Primetime Cafe, and Candice was like, girl, you gotta get that fried chicken. And I got that fried chicken, and oh my God, holy crap. That was the best fried chicken I've ever had in my entire life. Loved it so much.
And it would have been fine if it wasn't half a chicken. But,
I
the
know.
portion sizes of those things are just,
Oh my gosh.
it's amazing, but, ooh.
I'm a big fan of breakfast food. All right. And I would have to say that Tonga toast from Kona Cafe, what the kids call slapped, that is what it did. It slapped my taste buds in the best possible way. It's so good. If you've never tried it, yes, they can make it vegan. Yes, it doesn't have to be vegan, but it's amazing. And when I wake up every morning, that's what I want, and it's just so good.
Okay, I think I finally narrowed mine down. Just like flipping, I've got like a Rolodex in my head of all the places we ate and all the food that we had. I think my favorite bite this particular trip was the firecracker shrimp from Morimoto, Asia.
Ooh, that's a good one.
We were actually on the deluxe dining plan, which we'll talk about later. But part of that was that we each got an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert, plus a drink. So the firecracker shrimp was my appetizer for the evening, and oh my lord,
Slapped?
It slapped. It did. Thank you, youngin.
Okay, staying on the food theme. What was your? We did several character meals. So we did. What were our character meals? We did the Garden Grill. We did the Ohana breakfast. We did
Tusker House.
Tusker House. Were those the only 3 character meals?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So of those 3, which was your favorite character meal? And why was it your favorite character meal?
Because of the food or because of the characters?
That's
Either.
your reason.
Whatever.
Okay, I'll go first. I was treated like a princess at Tusker House because the sweet chef walked me through the buffet telling me what was vegan. And then when it came dessert time, he brought me all of the vegan desserts to the table. And it was just the sweetest gesture ever. So I love all of them, but that experience, different from your experience, I know, it made me feel so special. And again, that's why we love Disney, because that's what you get there.
That's a magical moment.
Yeah.
And that's their service. I mean, that's a lot of people don't go expecting that kind of service, but that's what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was Ohana times 1,000. I love Lilo and Stitch. I love Stitch. I love Lilo. Both of them.
So are you saying you love Lilo and Stitch?
Yes.
Okay.
That is what I am saying.
Good to know.
Just want to clear that up.
And yeah, we went there for breakfast on our off day. So it was a pretty chill day in general. But Candice had gotten that little special treat for us, and I was just like,
Oh yeah, wasn't?
that was the
It
best.
was like a last minute reservation that I was
Yeah.
watching for, and I snapped it up.
Way
as soon
to
as I
go,
saw it.
Candice.
Thanks.
Yep, and like Lacey said, I was treated so well. I had a birthday pin on because the trip was like for my birthday as well as Lacey's birthday and Scott and Candice's anniversary. And so we had all our little special pins, and I got some special birthday treats. The sweetest waiter ever to, I know I was getting to that, was serving us. And then our waiter gave me a card signed by Lilo and Stitch and Mickey and Pluto, I think was there too.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we got to meet all of them. Stitch taught me how to surf, I think. Yeah, so that was phenomenal.
Yep.
Honestly, I will probably say my favorite character dining experience this time around would be Tusker House.
Really? That surprises me.
And it's not because of the food. It's because of how ridiculously adorable the characters were in their safari gear.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I agree.
You don't get to see Mickey Mouse wearing a pith helmet and safari khakis every day all over the place. So, yeah.
Yeah, and mine, very similar reason to Candice's. Mine is the Garden Grill. I had not eaten breakfast there. And the breakfast platter that they bring out, so that's all you care to enjoy, but it's not a buffet. They bring it to your table in pans and that kind of thing. The breakfast was just traditional breakfast. Waffles, sausage, eggs, hash browns, that kind of thing. But there they have their cinnamon roll that they bring out in a little cast iron pan, that next time I may tell them just to leave the rest of the food in the back and just bring me a cinnamon roll, and I'll just nom on that. But for a very similar reason, that's my favorite. How often do you get to see Mickey wearing farmer overalls?
Yeah.
While you're sitting in a spinning restaurant over the land. It's just that whole experience itself, and Chip and Dale and Pluto and Mickey are the characters there. It's the most, like, I think they spend the most time with you there as of any of the character dinings that we've been to, because the others are so big. They have to move through so many tables and that kind of thing. When we went to breakfast, we saw Mickey twice. We saw Chip twice, just because they weren't super busy, and so they were able to make it around more than once. And that was my favorite character dining experience on this trip by far. Okay, we've got a few more minutes. We want to try and keep these podcasts to about a half hour. We're coming up on the end of that. So let's talk about the end of this trip. We can always revisit other things on this trip in future episodes, but let's talk about the end of the trip. So the sad day when you have to leave Disney property and start driving home. What was, I think I know what everybody's answer is going to be, but what was the best part of the drive home?
Stopping in Orange Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's nodding and agreeing on that. So speaking of making a Disney trip your own, we had Lariah, who had never stepped foot in the ocean before. And Orlando's right in the middle of Florida, so we didn't get to see the ocean going down. And we just made the decision on the way back. Orange Beach, which is a town that Candice and I love to vacation in, they have it's about a 7.5 hour drive from Orlando, and it's right on the Gulf of Mexico. Beautiful white sand beaches. So we decided to make that one of our stops on the way back and just take a really slow trip back. So instead of 2 days, we drove back in 3 days. So we went to Orange Beach and spent the night, dipped our toes in the ocean. That's such a smart decision, because if we had to drive for 24 hours, 2 12-hour days after leaving Disney, I think we probably would have all tried to find a way to jump out of the car. But stopping and having a bushwhacker in Orange Beach and swimming in the pool and getting our feet in the ocean was just such a relaxing end to that trip. We had the busy and hustle bustle of Disney for 6 days. Let's just sit back and relax for a few hours, and found a really fun restaurant while we were there, Picnic Beach. I don't know that they're still around after the hurricane that came through, but fantastic restaurant. If they're still open and you're going to Orange Beach, make sure you check them out. I would have to agree. I think we were all nodding with that was our favorite part of the drive back.
Well, and I think part of that for me is that I am notorious for not being a very good departer. On departure day, my attitude goes south in a big way, and everybody in my travel party suffers for it, and I apologize to y'all.
We understand.
But this particular trip and doing things how we did, it gave me something to look forward to, because I had to leave my beloved Disney World, which is a big deal. I don't like it at all. But looking forward to actually seeing the ocean and being back in Orange Beach, which is like a third home, it feels anymore. It was just better. It was better for my mental well-being. It was better for my travel party because they didn't have to deal with it. So yeah.
I agree with you, Candice. I was going to say, looking forward to one last thing before going home. It made the drive back home bearable, even though we weren't the one driving, Scott.
Yeah.
Which I seriously don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
I drive 2 hours and I need to take a 7-hour nap.
Yeah, that was just a fantastic vacation. So we're going to wrap up this one here. Then the next episode that we have planned for you is all about dream vacations. So we kind of hinted at that a little bit earlier in this one, but we're going to wrap this one up, and just know that everybody, we want you to have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. We know we're going to as well, and hope you enjoyed. If you have any feedback for us, just let us know. We'd be happy to listen to it. If you have anything you want us to talk about, we'll be happy to consider that as well. We'll look forward to connecting with you at the next one when we talk about our dream Disney vacations. Bye, everybody.
See you real soon.